Back at it again, May the 4th. We're going to be looking for some Star Wars games. And I'm out here on a bicycle. And this is actually one of my favorite ways to head to the game stores whenever possible. You get to see a lot of beautiful scenery. It's the funnest way, but it's also the least efficient way. Thankfully, there's a lot of combinis around here. We have Family Mart. Make sure to have your water. And if you make a lot of pickups, you can go to the convenience store and have them shipped to your hotel or wherever you're staying. But here's our destination, the Hard Off. This is in Kazo, Saitama. And it was a long ride to get out here, but well worth it. And I got here late in the evening, and that's something to consider. You know, if you're going to be riding your bike, make sure that you plan accordingly. Let people know where you're going, because you just don't know what could happen. But anyhow, that's the Black Stallion there. Let's go ahead and go inside directly to the showcase here. We have this Belly Vampire LP thing, Akina something. I'm not really familiar with that, but kind of a cool cover. But into the sweet retro games. We got some disc system games right off the bat. I'm not sure what that one is with the 19 on it, but we got Metroid there and then Karate Champ. Metroid was coming in at 7,000 yen before sales tax. And I'm interested in that Rockman and Forte, Rockman and Bass for the Wonder Swan. And then here we have Zelda 2, 6,600 yen with some Garo Densetsu Special. What else do we have here? There's Adventure Island for the PC Engine. That's kind of a uncommon title. Metroid there for the Game Boy for 2,750. We got Pocket Monsters, the blue version for 2,000. A little bit more on that later. Astro Boy for the Game Boy Advance. And a whole bunch of Famicom loose carts with Punch-Out at 2,750. That's the one that's really calling out to me. As well as this Rockman 6. And then we have Akumajo no Densetsu 5,000. And the Super Shinobi 2 for the glorious Sega Mega Drive at 6,600 yen. And then Zelda in the cart form for 5,000. That one could be pretty expensive, complete. Definitely over 10,000. We have Super C there. And then Golden Axe 3 for 8,250. And then the original Rockman for 6,000 before sales tax. And then we have Raiden for the PC Engine at 22,000 yen. And then what's this? The Konami MSX collection there. 15,400 yen. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I believe this is not a tax-free store, so just keep that in mind. And then we have Little Nemo there, the Dream Master. How much is that bad boy coming in at? 16,500 yen. Capcom game. And then here we have a nice little surprise. This Kokoron. Now, that's by one of the creators or one of the head guys off of a Mega Man action platforming game. And there's our first Star Wars game on the second row to the right there at 20,000 yen. And then we have Rockman Dash at 10,000, 12,000 for that Sin and Punishment. But yeah, Super Star Wars, they have that in the case. We got Magic Sword for 9,000. Now that one is definitely a little bit pricey, and I feel like Trader is going to have it for about like 20 to 3,000 yen less. We have Donkey Kong 64, the bundle at 15,000, 13,200 there for that GoldenEye. And then we have Super Aleste and Captain Commando for the Super Famicom. Some big heavy hitters there. We have the Super Big Brother. Now this one, this little shooter, is going to be making its way out to the Switch. There's a copy of Terra Enigma there for 4,400. And then 2 copies of Super Metroid and Rock and Roll Racing 1650. Love that game. And then Congo's Caper in the back for 2,200. 2,750 there for Super Metroid, and they had 2 copies of that. But a lot of good stuff in here. And then here we have this Super Mario Kart 64, 33,000. Now this one is like a demo unit. And then we have Hector there for the Super Famicom. Look at that suave guy on the cover. And then 2 Super Game Boy 2s, 3,500 yen and 3,850. That's not actually too bad in this day and age. And then a number of these Famicom mini games for the Game Boy Advance, with the notable one being Akumajo Dracula. I definitely want a copy of that, but... Oh, and there's another Star Wars game, Rogue Squadron. Here we have Virtual On. This is the Netlink edition, 16,500 yen. That's a little bit of a rare one. And I don't think I've seen it in the wild before. We have Rastan 2 for 4,400 and another copy of 007. For a 64 gig Vita card, 8,000 yen. And 1,000 yen for the 4 gig. And look at this beautiful poster of The Legend of Zelda 2. Man, I want that. And that's coming in at 5,500 yen. I was lucky, and when I bought my Famicom, I bought it at the Kumagaya junk section. It actually included the original Zelda poster. Here we have Initial D Extreme Stage for 6,600 yen. And then Gege no Kitaro PS2. And then Sega Marine Fishing. That's kind of a rare one. I don't often see that title. And then Salamander Deluxe Pack Plus for the PlayStation 1. Now, I hear that this is superior to the Sega Saturn version. And then here we have Gradius Gaiden, 5,500 yen. I believe both of those will be a part of the Gradius collection coming out for the Switch. And then here we have Altered Beast. This is the Hue card version for 5,500 yen. Dead Space for 11,000. And they also had it for the PlayStation 5. And those are going to be a little bit higher priced because keep in mind, they're not as easy to get here in Japan. We have Rent-A-Hero for the Mega Drive. Now, this also saw, I don't know if it was a remake or a sequel on the Dreamcast as well as the original Xbox. And then we have Seiken by Square. Kind of a cool game. I definitely like the logo. And then there was Mickey's Mystic Quest, the Magic Circus Mystery, something like that. And then the Cowabunga Collection, 10,245. Not sure what the heck this is. But it's by Imagineer. They also are the publisher. They also released a few controllers and peripherals. Here are some MSX games. This is like Romancia something. But that is an awesome cover. Look at that. Now, a lot of those games for the MSX are getting released for the Switch as part of the EGG, the Egg Collection. So I'll have to look to see if that's been a part of that. But here we got some Switch titles, and I got the Switch Lite that I picked up at the Gyoda Hard-Off. It's up and running. Here we have Yoshi's Island, the DS. I'm kind of interested in this. This is 550 yen. It's 2D, and it could be pretty good. And then Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings for the same price. We got some Professor Layton there. And then 3,300 yen. I believe the North American equivalent to this is Elite Beat Agents. So one of those rhythm type of games. And 3,300 yen. And look at this fishing controller for the 3DS. That's kind of cool. The new Nintendo 3DS. And then Goddess of Something by Square Enix. I haven't heard of this one. Looks kind of interesting though. And then here we have some kind of footy game. And I don't know, it could be good. And then Brain Age there for 330. Now this Tetris for the 3DS, this one could be good, especially in full-on stereoscopic 3D. And that's coming in at 1650. And I believe that one had a North American release. Here we have the House of the Dead 2 and 3. I have the North American version of this. And then we have this horror game. I do like the cover there with the hands. I don't know what the heck that... I think that one also saw a North American release. And then we have Innocent Aces. That's a part of the Combat Ace or whatever for Namcom universe. And that's a pretty cool cover there for that, whatever that is. Epic Mickey and Metroid Other M, 3,300 yen. I still remember when I picked that up at in Portland at a GameStop for 50 cents. And then Wario Shake It there. Great game, that one. As well as Metroid Other M. I had a great time with that. And another copy of House of the Dead. Let's just keep it moving here. We got some Wonder Swan Coliseum there for One Piece. Or One Piece Battle Coliseum. And Prince of Persia, 3,300 yen. Some Pokemon games for 1,650. I don't know, is that a good deal? And look at 2 copies of Pokemon Blue. There was one in the showcase, and they're all at 2,200 yen in the box. Those are expensive, so that could be an alternative for those of you wanting to have the game. Street Fighter 2, 2,200 yen next to Goemon for the same price. I do want a copy of that Street Fighter 2. And we have another Star Wars game, Rogue Squadron 3 Star Wars. Now, this is a great game, and if it had the slipcover, it would definitely be over 10,000 yen. It's a pricey one here in Japan. I used to own it, and that one is really good. In fact, I should have bought that. kind of thinking about it. Got some wrestling action there for the GBA. I've been playing some GBA off and on as of late. Mario Kart specifically. Not sure what this one is. Some kind of party game. I'm sure that also got a North American release. Being a first-party title. Here we have the Game of Life. And then some Super Famicom games. And we'll definitely pop in and out of this section. And then Famicom games at the top. And this is where I picked up Final Fantasy, the original version for 2,000 yen. Here we have Pro Tennis Tour 550. Kind of a cool cover there. And it could be fun. Next to that is Perfect 11. I hear that's a great soccer game. And then Super Mario All-Stars. They got Super Mario Bros. 4. Donkey Kong for 1650. They're going to have a lot of the first-party titles here, as well as like notable titles like this, Dragon Ball Z 2 for 2,200 yen. I see some Street Fighter action there. And then what is this? Top Gear or Top Racer, 4,400 yen. That one could be good as well. And then we have Goemon. I'm not sure if this is part 3 or part 4, 3,300 yen. And that's the lowest that I've seen it. It did include the manual, but the box was a little bit smashed in. And then what's this? Draken? Something like that. I think this also got a North American release. Kind of an interesting graphical design there. Or art direction. And this one, 4,400 yen. It is missing the manual, but it looks like it could be pretty good. Something Z. And then Ranma 1/2. There's a fighting game by Messiah. I had one of those. Hard Battle. And then we have Final Fantasy 6. Now I'm going to keep showing this game. 2,200 yen whenever I find it, because we're going to see how it slowly rises in price. And then we got some more Star Wars action. We have Episode 1 Racer. I do want this, but I want the Sega Dreamcast version, as it is superior. And then we have a boxed Rogue Squadron for 2,750. And then also Shadow of the Empire, which I have a copy of this. And I kind of do like that game for, how clunky it is. It's not too bad, actually. We have Ocarina of Time, 3,850. And then Majora's Mask. And I believe this is the one that was bundled in the box pack. But quite a bit of Star Wars games. Always nice to see. And then we have like this Dance Dance Revolution Disney thing. And then Super Mario Bros. 3. A little bit of sun fading there, but 3,300 yen. Which isn't too bad, considering how coveted the game is. And then Adventure Island, 1650 with all Master Higgins, as he's known in the West. And they have some Dr. Mario, some IRM action. This one, not really familiar with that one. But they had another IRM game. And I do love the IRM game. Look at the cover on that. Something, a train mystery. That could be good. Mystery games. And let's see, here we go. We got some Genesis PC Engine. And it was nice because, check this out. They had some North American titles. Twin Cobra, Kikoku Tiger, 5,500 yen. And what else they have here? Castle of Illusion, 2,750. Fantasia, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Not For Sale edition. And then we have Sonic 2. And I don't know, I think that has the UPC code. It's not the Not For Sale edition. Shining Force, Super League, Bomberman 1650. I've been seeing a lot of Bomberman as of late. A couple of Game Boy, Virtual Boy titles. And Dead Rising 3, 1,100 yen, the North American version. I also have the North American version, which I found at a hard off. Armored Core for Answer, 22. That's going to be for the Xbox 360 and Sylphied. 1650 next to Superstar Soldier. Lost Planet Extreme Condition. What do we have? COD 4. Left 4 Dead 2. Now, the Japanese version, full English language options. Unfortunately, Lost Odyssey doesn't, but look at that cover. That's pretty wicked, man. And then we have some Koei, some Romance of the Three Kingdoms type of game. Tekken Tag Tournament 2, that should have full English, and as well as Soul Calibur 5. Oblivion, Blue Dragon, and then another North American copy of Dead Rising 3. I still got to play through that. I've played like about 2 hours worth of it. And then Dead Rising 2, 330 yen. And yeah, Dark Souls 3, Gears of War, 330. So some decent pricing there for Xbox games. And then the Street Fighter collection, 3850. That's a great collection. What else do we have here? More Famicom Disk System games, but we're going to stick to the Sega Saturn. This is Ninku, and it's some kind of fighting game. And then we have a Kombini simulator game. That one could be interesting. And then Atelier Marie version 1.3. I believe this got like a remaster, and it is available on the Nintendo Switch. Hokuto no Ken, Fist of the North Star. This is like an interactive type of movie for 2,200 yen. Revolution X, Music is the Weapon, featuring Aerosmith's music. Langriz are there. I've never played that Revolution X. I wonder how it is. I think the weapon is just like shooting out like CDs. Myst. It's a classic one. I'm not sure what this one is about. What else do we have here? And then Pebble Beach Golf Links. That was an early title for the Sega Saturn. And then the Netlink edition of Virtua Fighter Remix. I almost got this because I'm a huge fan of Virtua Fighter, but I kind of, I came to my senses. I'm like, nah, I don't really need it. But who knows? If I ever find it for less, I will get. Winter Heat for 1,100 yen. Some Winning Post. What else do we have here? Grand Chaser. This is kind of like a Wipeout-esque type of game. Not as refined as Wipeout, but still. And then this is Need for Speed Overdriving. That's a great version, too, on the Sega Saturn. And then Side Pocket 2 for 330 yen. It does have a substitute case, but that's a pretty good deal on that. And a lot of interesting, King of Boxing, and then Gothica, Grand Something. And then Nights into Dreams. There was a difference there. That one's coming in at 3,300 yen, and the other ones were far, far less. So I'm not sure. That could be sealed, maybe. Maybe that's the reason. I remember Sega sending me that in the mail because I used to send all the postcards. Here we have the Horde, and I believe that's Kirk Cameron. I couldn't remember his name last time, but I forget the name of the show, Family Matters or Step by Step, something like that he was in. I used to watch it too. It just kind of escapes my memory. But here we have Shining Force 3 Episode 3 for 3850. That's kind of a heavy hitter for Sega Saturn RPGs. What else do we have? Ogre Battle. I hear this is a pretty good one. I wonder how the music is. I do have it for the PSP digitally. I should definitely give it a shot. But yeah, just kind of thinking about that one. Netlink edition of Virtua Fighter Remix. And then here we have Street Fighter 02 for the PS1. And then Jumping Flash. Look at that beautiful cover. That's a certified bad boy too. Jumping Flash. I had a great time playing that way back in 95 or 96. What do we have? Maritime something. Initial D 1650. I kind of totally I do want to pick that one up at one point. 1,100 yen for Street Fighter 02, King of Fighters 97, Rival Schools for 2,200, KOF 99 for 2,200 yen, and Vampire Savior EX Edition. I have that, and that's actually pretty good. A lot of great fighting games on the PlayStation 1, and a lot of great 2D games. Let's see here. What the heck is this? Look at that. Some kind of caveman game. Kind of an interesting cover, that one. Some Tetris. And then that was Tenchu. 880 yen. Beautiful cover. Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Tenchu always had like a great reputation. 550 there for Tekken, 880 for Tekken 2, and 1,100 for Tekken 3. But Tenchu, I've never actually played one. I mean, I've played it like little bit by bits, but I've never actually completed one is what I mean to say. But PlayStation 1 games slowly on the rise in general. Here we have Runabout 3. This is the simple series release. It also got like a standard release. And I do have a soft spot for the Runabout games. And then we have Firefighter FD18, 1,000 yen. Now this one seems interesting. This is one that I've seen before, and the production value there looks actually pretty high quality. A few Armored Core games, Nexus and Silent Line, and then Nine Breaker. Silent Hill 2, 5,500 yen. And look at this Yakuza type of game. It's not the Yakuza series, but that's a pretty mean cover. That means business. Business gone wrong. And let's see what else they have here for the old PlayStation. Another copy of Silent Hill 2, 5,500 yen. And that one's only going to be rising. And that one does have full English language options. What else do we have? Wanderer and the Colossus for 1,100 yen. Definitely like that cover. But that firefighter game, I'm definitely curious about that. Minecraft PS3 edition, 1650. The Vita version of Minecraft you could find, and I believe it has full English language options, and it usually averages between 100 to 300 yen. And then another North American copy. This is time for Final Fantasy VII. Cicatrice, I saw that for the Switch a few episodes ago. Loco Roco, 1650. I'm currently playing through that on the PSP. Metal Gear Solid, the Master Collection, 3850. I still haven't picked that up. Maybe when I head to the States, which will be very soon. Gonna be filming out there too. Looking forward to that trip. What else do we have? Valkyria Azure Revolution. I have this for the Xbox One. Not a bad game, you know. Definitely not AAA stuff, but you know, it's not bad. But I've been coming to this shop throughout the years as well, and I've had a lot of great pickups here. And this is the disc system. Is this Kiki Kaikai? I mean, it's Taito. And that's just a bunch of manuals and all sorts of stuff. Game Boy Advance. What's this? Something that also has a GameCube release, and I think that has like you can connect the Advance to it, the Game Boy Advance to the Cube. But look at these cards were actually included, I believe, with the disc system games. So that's pretty cool to see. Anyhow, let's keep making our way. We're gonna check out some hardware next, and they had some pretty heavy hitters here. Here we got the little glass backing for the Switch Lite. I picked that up since I just got that Switch. Why not deck it out a little bit? And the Switch Lite, you know, it's kind of a cool, neat little handheld. I mean, I know it's just a Switch, but you know, the form factor, it feels pretty good. Definitely better than the Switch when you're on the go. But here we have a V Saturn, 16,500 yen. Beautiful machine. Next to some PC Engines and Saturn's PS1s. And then one of them includes the LCD screen, 38,500 yen. And then we got a limited edition Super Slim for 19,800. What else do we have here? Some N64s, quite a few of them. And it looks like 11,000 is the average going rate there. They also had an orange cube. And look at this bad boy, Virtual Boy, 60,500 yen. That's about 30,000 less than the Surugaya, and it's definitely seeing a rise. But look at the Switch Lites. 15,000 seems to be the average. And I'm telling you, I paid... the one I got was at 10,000. I had so many points that after all the points came through, I ended up paying like under 8,000 yen. 6,600 for the DS Fat Pink. They had a few new 3DSs for about 25,000. And then Switches. I like this red one, this OLED red one, 33,000. That has a nice little color to it. Pops. And then 6,600 for a DMG and 11,000 for a Game Boy Color. A few Game & Watches, one of them coming in at 3,300 yen. What else do we have? Game Boy Colors, 8,800 yen is the lowest there. And then Game Boy Advance, the Model 1, 8,800 for the Orange Spice, 6,600 for the Indigo Purple. And those there could be issues. They could be missing battery doors, is why they're less expensive, cosmetic issues. But it looks like a few of them are coming in as high as 16,500 yen. Here we have some expansion packs at 49.50 next to a teal cube controller and a white one. And then look at this, the see-through Saturn. 100,000 yen. Now this is not the This Is Cool version. That's actually cooler because it doesn't have that. 44,000 for the orange cube, or 64, 33,000 for the Pikachu. Now the Pikachu one is so common. We got 16,500 yen for the Final Fantasy II Wonder Swan. There was a Neo Geo CD controller back there for about 7,000 and some change. But yeah, I got this little protective cover. And sometimes you could find good controllers there, like PC Engine controllers, Sega Saturn, of course, Nintendo, PlayStation. But let's make our way into the junk section. Here are a few figures. Now, they had one from Wacky Racers, the little dog. I forget his name, but that's pretty cool. 3,850. If you look in there, you know, there's definitely going to be some interesting figures. We got some Astro Boy, Doraemon. I tend to avoid that section because my game room's all decked out. And sometimes the pricing on those figures is actually pretty good. Not going to lie. Now, this section occasionally will have a few game soundtracks, but let's just go into the bins and have a quick peek. Here we have some more DS games, but nothing notable. This is all they have for Sega Saturn titles. Just a bunch of sports games, and it's going to be fairly similar for the PS1, although it's going to have quite a bit of role-playing games. And then there's this Capcom title, which is not really interested in it, but when I see Capcom, I got to take a look. N64 pad with the loose thumbstick there for $550. Which, you know, that's actually not too difficult to repair. What is this, a train controller there? And then the little HDD TV recorder for the PS3. But, you know, they're just a bunch of controllers, what you would expect to see. Let's go to the junk showcase. Here we have a number of Nintendo DS systems. I do like that teal color for the DS Lite. $1,650 seems to be the lowest price there. 8,800 yen for the metallic rose SP. That's a beautiful color. We got a PSP 3000, the red and black, for 7,000 before sales tax. We got a Walkman, 3,000 yen, and an MSX, the Sony variant, and then more Walkmans. Quite a bit of Walkmans. And then here's another one outside the case, 2,200 yen for that DS Lite. And then a Game Boy Advance SP with the box for 7,000 before sales tax. Now, that's going to have some serious issues, especially cosmetic ones. But if you want it in the box, that's definitely an option there. Here we have more disc system games, with the big one being Akumajo. That's a great one. What else do we have? 8,800 yen for the DMG. The Game Boy Pocket. Look at that screen. Ooh. Now, that could just be the polarizer film. You could just peel that off and put a new one, and then presto, you're back in business. We got some PS4s there. A Pro for 19,800 yen. And then Super Famicoms, with a few of them still have retained the beautiful original color. Here we have a Super Slim for 8,800 yen. It looks like it's having some kind of DVD read issues. And that's what I'm currently using. I'm using my Hokuto no Ken edition, which I picked up at a Super Bazaar up in Gunma, which I'm hoping to revisit within the next coming days. So stay tuned for that. Those Super Book-Off Bazaars usually have some pretty good stuff. A Mega Drive there, and a whole bunch of Wii U's, PS2s, the conga drums. And a few months ago, I picked up a steering wheel. Here we have this Tamagotchi thing. Now, these things are fairly common, both the Pikachu one. Somebody was asking about that in the comments. But that stuff's fairly common, but you're going to have to look through the junk section, the toy section, of course, the video game section proper, the electronics, because sometimes they just get misplaced. And then just some Joy-Cons there in the case. And I was just kind of waiting because there was a customer there. Didn't want to disturb the piece with my big old camera, but we have the Family Basic set, 11,000. Now, that one's been there for a while. Look at this old rotary phone and this fan, 5,500 yen. There's some cool stuff here, man. We got an old Mac. Look at that, 3,300 yen. That's crazy. I wonder if it... Now, they do have a testing station right at the entrance, so you could, if you're interested in that Mac, you can bring it on down, give it a test. Some Xbox 360s with an Elite. Now, the Elite had the 120 gig hard drive, and I want to say this bad boy looks clean. Look at that. What's the manufacturing date? 2008. It's kind of hard to see there, and then there's the plug. Now, this will kind of give you an idea what version it is. Now, I'm not too savvy on it, but, you know, if I look at it and look it up, now some of you guys can just eyeball it and know right away, but definitely a cool machine there. And again, they have a testing station. Now, the issue with that is just finding the right power supply. But here we have the Sega Saturn Model 2, 3,300 yen. They had the Model 1 in the back. And what's that bad boy at? 2,200 yen. The original one does have a really cool color, that gray color. 1,000 yen for the Famicoms. I once picked up a Famicom here for like 300 yen. That was crazy. And it was working too. And a whole bunch of Wiis. But anyhow, let's go ahead and take a look at some more Super Famicom. We have Vortex for 2750, and that box is clean. But I wonder how the game is. I imagine that it's a bit sluggish, but it could be, I don't know, it could be all right. Unfortunately, these two Chrono Triggers were suffering from sun fading. 2750 there. And this one was at 3,300 yen. That's another game that's going to be seeing a rise. And then Thoroughbred Breeder. Look at that. Beautiful cover. I'm looking for the sequel or the prequel because it has an even better cover. I'm going to pick it up. And then we have a Samurai Edge. We're going to take a closer look at that. But look at this. We have a Switch for 8,000 yen. It's having some issues there. And these things are going to be lining up the junk section very, very soon. Believe that. But look at the Samurai Edge. Beautiful thing. Now, these are airsoft guns. And this one does have the little orange tip. But this is a hardcore collector's item for all the Resident Evil fans. I would definitely like... I should have picked this up and, you know, thinking about it. But nah, that's just... that's crazy, man. But I do want one. I'm a huge Biohazard fan. And something like that, heck yeah. They also have the Golden Lugers from Code Veronica. I've seen those. Last time I saw it, they had it at Beep. But it has since sold. Now, keep in mind, if you go on a bicycle, this is what you're after if you overstay. And visibility can be poor. So, like as I mentioned earlier, let people know where you're going. Even the camera is having a tough time seeing. But guys, that's going to be it for this episode. I had a great time. And definitely expect more. And until then, I guess, ciao.